Hello, good evening, everyone. As always, it's such a nice feeling to be here before you, before the cameras, and share a little bit of my ideas. And today, when you particularly think that what you are about to say could be useful or found useful by a sizable section of people, that really makes it very satisfying for you. I actually thought a little bit about actually talking about health today, general health, health and self-care and well-being, the kind of thing. It's not about the mental health that I'm going to be talking now, though that's actually my field. But I thought I'll talk a little bit about the physical need to take care of oneself, the physical health, and general well-being, how one can remain reasonably healthy throughout one's life, which is definitely not a rocket science. There is really abundant information on all of this in social media and the internet and Google. So what all I'm going to say now would be only highlighting whatever that you may possibly find in the other internet fora, various types of internet fora, social media, and plus other various websites relating to health. Uh, Before I actually go ahead, I must tell you that I'm not a medical professional at all. My field is entirely different. It's actually more relating to mind and absolutely nothing to do with the physical shape body. But as one who has actually lived almost in the evening of my life, so to say, and having gone through quite a lot of vicissitudes in my life, I actually thought I'll actually share some of my ideas with you as far as physical well-being is concerned. Now, the reason, specific reason that I I am actually inclined to come up with this particular subject today is because of the call that I received this morning from India. A call after which I felt absolutely distressed. Somebody known to me who is in the middle age, in his early 40s, died of heart attack, a massive attack, all over within about 5-10 minutes. So that really shocked me no end. Though that doesn't really come to me as necessarily as a surprise, it definitely shocked me because the person is very well known to me, and nobody could have ever imagined that that person could actually be meeting with that fate this morning. This morning here in India is in the evening. So all that he did was he just went out for a walk. Before, when he was about to come back into the house, he just fell down all in a sudden and died within 5 minutes. How could it happen? I have heard this kind of thing, not all that often, but I mean, quite a few times in my life I have come across such a thing. And I've also been told, I'm not sure about the veracity of it, I'm not sure about the soundness of the idea, but what I have heard and have been told is that when someone gets a heart condition in the early middle age, then mostly it's more likely than not that it's likely to become fatal. So that's what has happened to this guy. And I have known a couple of people in my life who had my major cardiac conditions in their late 30s, but he managed to survive. Those people managed to survive, a couple of them actually. But then throughout their life, they had to be really very careful, uh, cautious about what they do, what they cannot do, and doing everything in moderation, that kind of thing. They have to be really very watchful about their health, because once somebody gets a heart attack, and particularly if it's a major attack, then the heart is considerably damaged. Some of the cells die. I mean, I don't really want to go into that, go there, because again, I'm not a medical professional. Okay, so I don't want to say that. I mean, maybe you guys know much more than me on all of that. But I'm going to actually talk about my personal experience when I was in my 30s. and how I have managed to survive all along after that. Now I am 69, so almost 32 years after what I experienced then, I'm actually going to talk about it now. And the basic purpose, as I said, the basic objective, as I said, is to caution people to be careful when they are in their 40s. Before I actually go and talk about my own personal experience, let me actually say a little bit about the state of mind that people normally have when they're in their early middle age, in their 40s and 50s, because that's a stage when you are able to take off in terms of career growth, personal life, the family establishing, settling, children growing up, all kinds of things. And that's possibly the stage when the direction would have been set for your further career growth and life itself, actually the kind of direction that your life is likely to take. You might have actually set down in a particular place with a particular job, or you have some very clear plans about what you are going to be doing further from then on, that kind of thing. But that's also a stage when you really feel very strong about yourself, when you feel very confident about yourself. You are all agile, you are all alive and outgoing, and you have a lot of interest in life. You have a lot of interest in what is going on around you. The positivity is very much there because there is a lot of life does seem to be holding a lot of promise after that in terms of career, making wealth, money, everything. And that's a stage you are also likely to ignore your health. And that's a stage of life, the early 40s, when someone really needs to be absolutely careful, absolutely mindful of the fact that stress has to be avoided at all costs, because that's a stage when uh, the two most common ailments, conditions, so to say, ailment may not be the right word, sugar, diabetes, and blood pressure, hypertension. These two uh, uh, can affect people at that stage, early 40s, late 30s. And so, unless somebody is going to take care, the minimal care, the self care, mindful of that, conscious of that, then that's likely to be affecting you quite a bit. Um, because as far as sugar, blood pressure is concerned, they don't really kill you in one day. They don't affect your organs in one day. So, in fact, blood pressure is it has a very funny term, a silent killer. The one who has BP for a long time, without even knowing that he has BP or has been taking medications, then that could actually affect the organs. Then that can immobilize it, that can lead to something else, more chronic conditions like heart attack or stroke, or affecting the organs. Or in the case of sugar, it could be neuropathy, diabetic neuropathy, as they say. It can affect the brain, the heart, the lungs, I'm sorry, the kidney, or the feet, or whatever. So, but it's not really as something as worrisome as it may appear to be, as the possibly the impressions that we have been actually led to feel by the campaigning that goes on, by the way people actually talk about it very feverishly about these two conditions. The other one is actually cholesterol. Cholesterol is a fat deposit, and that could really lead to complications. In fact, as far as heart is concerned, as you would all know, the basic risk factors are these: sugar, diabetes, blood pressure, cholesterol, obesity. And if someone is a smoker, as I was, so that could even complicate matters further. Um, so what you really need to do, first of all, be mindful of it. First of all, be mindful of the fact that one has to take care, enough care, self care. The I mean, some time back, about maybe possibly about 10 or 15 days back, I was actually going somewhere with a couple of my young friends. Young means relatively, comparatively, much younger than myself, people who are in the 40s. And they were actually talking about discussing cholesterol. The one person was saying, "Oh my God, I got about 250." The other one was saying, "I got 260," something like that, as if that's going to be the be all end all. There is no way to save yourself from that. I mean, the kind of nervousness with which they were talking was both good and bad. Good in the sense, though those guys were conscious of the fact that they have to take care of themselves, take care of their health. Bad in the sense they were actually feeling so nervous, as if as if there is no really way out of it, and that was apparently stressing them out quite a bit. I could actually see that. Okay. Then I gave them my own example. Then I tried to comfort them a little bit. After all, it's not something to be really worried. But you really have to take care of yourself, taking the most basic minimal precautions that one has to take. Uh, okay, there's something else I'll say. See, Fidel Castro in his 60s, he was asked once, how do you actually? He was a great swimmer even in his 60s. How do you manage to swim so long, for so long every morning, even at this age? He said, eat less, sleep less, exercise a lot. I agree with exercise a lot. I agree with eat less, but I don't necessarily agree with sleep less, because one needs to sleep at least about 5 6 hours every day, every night, to feel peaceful, to feel not stressed out. Now let me come to my experience. Then a little bit about what I did after that. Today at 69 I am able to play tennis, though I get beaten invariably because most of the times I only get youngsters to play with me and I get beaten. I don't really mind, but the fact that I'm able to go to the tennis court and stand there with my racket in hand, play for about an hour, that provides me tennis satisfaction. I'm really very happy when somebody beats me. That's fine. Unfortunately, I don't get a 70-year-old man to play with. Hopefully I'll be able to beat them. Anyway, jokes apart, I was about 37 then, so I was quite obese. I was weighing about 89 kgs. My and There was a package deal uh, offered by Apollo Hospitals in the city of Chennai in India. It was hardly about 125 rupees in those days. That for that 125 rupees, you could actually take a cardiac package test, a combination of tests, the basic tests, such as blood pressure, sugar, cholesterol, your obesity levels, your weight, and the BMI, the body mass index, and all that. And if there was something that was concerning that was found, then you were asked to go through further tests like treadmill. And echo was not there in those times. You had only ECG and treadmill, I think, at least in India. So I actually thought this was really too tempting, 125 rupees, which is a very nominal, reasonable amount. So I thought I'll just go there. To cut to the chase, what happened was, after all the tests were done, the cardiologist sat with me, and he told me very clear terms, because it was all computerized. Actually, the results were computerized, analyzed, everything. So he told me very clear terms, my friend, if you are not going to change your ways in the next 5 years, I'll actually welcome you in my ICU. You will definitely have a massive attack or whatever. That's the Not in so many words, but he did say, I will welcome you in my ICU in the next 5 years. That was the prognosis in those times, actually. See, the reason was my BP was 160 by 100. I didn't have sugar, mercifully. My weight was, as I said, 89 kgs, I think. And I was a smoker, not many cigarettes, maybe about 5 6. And then what else? So these were the conditions. Cholesterol was very high too. Cholesterol was about 290. So these conditions. It's a real prescription for getting some kind of heart condition within the next few years. And so he said that you have to actually change your ways. Then he also actually sent me for treadmill, but which I was able to complete the whole course for about 20 minutes or so. So what I did after that, I completely changed my ways. I started playing tennis. I learned tennis and I started playing. I made sure that every day I would walk at least about an hour, and I cut down on I stopped my smoking. I gave up smoking, which was difficult. It's not easy at all. One thing which is really possibly extremely difficult to give up is smoking. I'm not sure about the other vices. I mean, drinking, or I don't know how difficult that would be. But smoking is extremely difficult to give up, but it's not impossible. There are ways. If somebody wants to know how, they can actually, they're free to get in touch with me. We can actually discuss it. But it's not difficult at all. It's all more in the mind again. So I gave up all that. I reduced my weight quite drastically. Then I started walking regularly. But the BP, what happens in the case of BP, once you get the BP, you are prone to BP, it's going to be there. But it needs to be managed. Both BP and sugar just needs to be managed. Keep them under control by some regular systematic practices like walking every day. 1 hour of walking does a world of good in various ways. So that's something which I did. And so today I'm 69 and I have played tennis very regularly for about how long? From 92 for about at least 20 years. Then for about 15-20 years before, till such time I actually moved to Canada from India, which was about 20 years back. Yeah. So yeah, at least for about 10-15 years I was playing very regularly. But even after having come to Canada and US, I've been playing every now and then whenever I get a chance. But walking is something that I've been doing really very regularly, and no habits, absolutely no habits. And as far as the food is concerned, you don't really have to worry so much about food if you are able to keep your weight in control, if you are able to keep your BP in control, if you are able to keep your sugar under control and cholesterol under control, everything is fine. So diet, so it's all in the question of mind, mental control, a little bit of determination and the motivation, and look at your family, look at your children. And so like it happened in the case of the guy known to me in Chennai this morning. I mean, imagine such a fate. So all that we need to do is to take a little bit of precautions and not become complacent or overconfident. That is exactly what is likely to happen when somebody is in the early middle age, 40s, because they don't really find time to actually take care of themselves, because the family, the children, all kinds of pressures. At the same time, things are looking with so much promise, and there is a lot of things that you can do, accomplish in life. So your focus, attention, everything goes there, and self-care becomes the last thing that you look at, which should not be the case at all. And so I actually thought I'll just make this little talk here today, just to let you know that it's possible to keep yourself in good shape with just minimal effort, without any of these things affecting you: sugar, BP, cholesterol, or overweight. And hopefully you don't smoke. None of you smoke, hopefully, none of the listeners here. So with this, life will be really good. Everything in moderation, everything. I mean, do things that you have to be doing at the minimal level, which is not really all that difficult. So I thought I'll actually just, I don't really want to drag it on for more time, because there's a lot that we can actually talk on these things. But all that I want to say, the real age and the chronological age, as they say. Chronological age is just a number. Real age is what you are really capable of doing at a particular age. For example, if you are basically mentally healthy, psychologically healthy, you have a lot of resilience, you have great confidence, control over yourself and everything, by leading a good life, by having a right attitude, and physically, if you are able to do things that a 40-year or 50-year-old can do, then you are only 50 years old or not 69 years old. That's actually in my case, not 50. Okay. Okay, I'm just actually making it up. But all I'm trying to say is, between the real age and the chronological age, what you are capable of doing is what is important. So even at the age of 40 or 45, if you are going to be feeling like an 80-year-old or 70-year-old, then what is life really worth it? So diet, little bit of exercise, diet, determination, self-care, consciousness about the self-care. These are things which are really very important. I do hope that this little presentation would possibly actually make you think on those lines, and that's the reason for this. Thank you very much all. Do take care, and wish you all the very best.